It certainly seemed like a politically charged document. It, used to be pre-James Comey. You would either indict somebody or you wouldn't indict somebody. But now in the political sphere, again, James Comey can't indict Hillary Clinton during a presidential election legally. So what does he do? He holds a press conference.
On Thursday, special counsel Robert Hur issued his report on President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents when he was out of office, a distinction we'll get to in a few minutes. But the focus of the report has been mostly on Hur's description of Biden's memory, which he used as part of his justification for declining to issue a call to prosecute Biden. But it's the wrong focus. Justice's central reason, which is in the report, for declining to issue a charging recommendation against Biden is simple: his lack of culpability. Compare that with Donald Trump's criminal mishandling of classified documents following the end of his presidency.
He talked about the distinctions between Donald Trump, who lied, stole, lied, hid, obstructed, lied again, had his lawyers lie under oath, continued to lie, continued to hide, continued to obstruct, told his employees to lie, on and on and on. Joe Biden turned it over immediately. Of course, I don't expect liars on other news channels or liars in other parties to actually tell the truth. I don't expect them to do that.
The key fact in Biden's case is that he cooperated fully, turning over to the FBI and answering all questions about classified documents in his possession after they were discovered in January of 2023. But Trump, as the report emphasizes, is charged with obstructing the government's 2022 efforts to retrieve all highly classified documents he willfully retained at Mar-a-Lago. He refused to disclose them, provide full information about them, even to return them. That's why a grand jury indicted Trump in August of 2023 for obstruction of justice. The difference between him and Biden couldn't be any clearer. See, full cooperation signals to prosecutor a person does not have a criminal state of mind. That's plainly the reason why Hur, a former Trump-appointed United States attorney, recommended against prosecuting Biden. There was nothing there. Hur's report, which was 340 pages, was a result of a 13-month investigation over these classified documents that Biden's lawyers found in his home last year after Biden invited them into his home to help look for them. He voluntarily returned all documents.
Again, the word willfully, that he willfully retained the documents. Then you go a couple of hundred pages in, it goes, well, it's natural to assume that Mr. Biden put the Afghanistan documents in the box on purpose and knew they were there. Quote, there is, in fact, a shortage of evidence on these points. So 200 pages early, he goes, he willfully, and then 200 pages later, say, well, we actually don't have evidence on that point.
And in another sharp contrast to Trump, Biden cooperated fully and transparently in Hur's investigation of how it all happened. Biden even declined the opportunity to redact embarrassing information in this report, the stuff about his memory. And most tellingly, Biden did not even assert executive privilege during the two-day interview this past October. So what would Trump have done if this was happening to him as president? Among many instances of clear lying and obstruction and obfuscation, remember when Trump refused to be interviewed when special counsel Mueller investigated the Trump campaign's cooperation with Russia during the 2016 election?
He talked about the distinctions between Donald Trump, who lied, stole, lied, hid, obstructed, lied again, had his lawyers lie under oath, continued to lie, continued to hide, continued to obstruct, told his employees to lie, on and on and on. Joe Biden turned it over immediately. Of course, I don't expect liars on other news channels or liars in other parties to actually tell the truth. I don't expect them to do that. But there are those clear distinctions. But even here, though, John Heilman, you have a situation where he says time and time again, we don't really have any evidence that he willfully took and retained this evidence.
Biden's cooperation and transparency during this whole investigation is a model for the way honest public servants should conduct themselves. I said honest public servants. And Trump doubled down on all this. He stored highly sensitive national security secrets in places accessible to country club visitors, and continued to lie about them, moving classified documents from place to conceal them from federal authorities. In interviewing Biden, Hur characterized the president's memory of the events from 2017 to be less than clear, which he characterized as indicative of Biden's age and mental acuity. Memories, however, about events years before are often unclear for all Americans, not just people that are 80 years old. In fact, have you ever watched on television when a lawyer is talking to his client and he tells them, if you can't really remember, if you have any doubts, just say, I don't recall?
There's no doubt in my mind that that this special prosecutor could have written the same report without using these words: elderly man with a poor memory. I'm you know, like you, I'm a simple country journalist. I can find a lot of different ways to say this.
Yeah, you know what?
Without
I'm a
saying
simple
something like
country
that.
lawyer.
Yeah.
John, I'm a simple country lawyer, and I know. What's the headline? What should the headline from this report be? Not indicted.
Not guilty. Right.
Not the evidence to indict him.
So special counsel Hearst said in his report, Biden would likely present himself to a jury as a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. It'd be difficult to convince a jury that they should convict him. There's no reason for him saying that. Biden pushed back hard, especially when Hearst described the events of his son's death and how Biden might not be able to remember them.
He's a Trumper. Who knew?
Right.
So why in the world would the Justice Department allow that dicta to be in there? It's gratuitous.
Well,
and he knows it's gratuitous,
yeah.
And it was bad faith. It was bad faith that he did it, and it was even worse judgment that the Justice Department allowed that garbage to be released.
Bottom line, President Joe Biden made a mistake and corrected it. He did not obstruct the investigation. To the contrary, he was 100% helpful. Even Hearst said that in the report. That's why he's not being prosecuted.
Really? And for Merrick Garland to not learn from 2016 that actually when you're involved politically, when you're involved in a political a situation like this, that you don't actually take care to be careful at what you do.
Well,
he didn't. Comey didn't. Her just like Comey decided, I want to put myself in the middle of this campaign.
yeah.
So in other words, Joe Biden behaved during this investigation like someone who does not consider himself above the law. He is an honorable civil servant with more than 50 years serving this country. On the other hand, we have Donald Trump, who is under indictment for 91 crimes, not against the government, but against you and I. Bottom line is, the president of the United States is a man who considers himself to not be above the law. And then there's the other guy. Subscribe and click notifications for Really American while we work hard to bring you the truth here in 2024. For Really American, I'm Chip Franklin.